If you have ever watched a Stardew Valley video on YouTube before, then I can say with about 95% certainty that you have definitely watched a Dangerously Funny video before. But why is this? How can I say such a profound statement? Well, it's because Dangerously Funny is responsible for the mass popularization of many things in the Stardew Valley community today. For example, Stardew Valley's most popular exploit of all time, the Item ID exploit, was first made popular by Dangerously Funny's 2 videos on the topic. But let's rewind a bit. How did Dangerously Funny go from this?
Hello everyone, welcome to Stardew Valley. This is the first episode in this series.
To this.
Wheels is up there, probably because he comes with spare parts. Today we're going to grind up NPCs and feed them to each other.
Well, it all starts back in 2016. On the 13th of March 2016, Dangerously Funny released his first video on his channel. Now this first video, and the next, 100 or so, were of course Stardew Valley videos. Except they weren't the same quality that they are today. Because you see, just like every other YouTuber, Dangerously Funny started off with a shit mic that he didn't know how to properly speak into, and he didn't even use OBS to record his first video.
I'm probably going to do quite a long series of this game.
However, there was signs from the start that Dangerously Funny was going to be different. For example, his first few videos are targeted at farming hundreds of iridium and going really deep in the Skull Cavern, which if you didn't know, in Stardew Valley there is a mining system, and Skull Cavern is like the upgraded mining system. Like there's a normal one and then there's a cool endgame one. And getting deep in Skull Cavern is a challenge that players often like to do, and iridium is a thing you can find down there. So collecting lots of iridium, going down deep in the mines is something they like to do. Now in 2016, Dangerously Funny mostly made guides, but he also started doing some crazy things like making 10 million gold in one crop harvest, for example. And as I said before, these type of outrageous things and his ways of challenging the game were really just foreshadowing for what was to come. Now fast forward to the end of 2016, and DF was already starting to abuse glitches to make his videos more interesting.
What's up everyone? Today I'm going to show you how to be a land shark.
He also made this video right here, which I will get to later. But yeah, as we make our way into 2017, DF is now well into his completionist farm series.
I wanted to get back to this mostly because people had been asking about it a lot lately, and also because I'm actually quite hungover today.
His funny Let's Marry series, where he marries random NPCs and just kind of roasts them the whole time.
Hello everyone. I don't like this baby, and this purple-haired lady living in my house, she's gotta go too. So today, we're going to be exploring Penny.
And he's still making more guides and abusing glitches. At this point in time, the quality of his videos are also getting a lot better. Now, this isn't a detailed history of DF at all, I'm just kind of brushing over things so that you get a general overview of his history, but yeah. Throughout 2017 and 18, this is what you would consider the peak of his Stardew Valley related content. Because during these years, DF would go on to make his most popular and influential Stardew Valley videos of all time. It's also important to note that during, I think it was 2019, he started slowly phasing out the Stardew Valley content and replacing it with a variety of games, which is why a majority of his fans nowadays wouldn't even know him as the Stardew Valley guy, and instead just a YouTuber who has fun with the games he plays. Anyway, that's Dangerously Funny and a brief overview of his history in Stardew Valley. Now let's get into the many things that Dangerously Funny discovered and popularized in Stardew Valley. So first up, we're going to look at glitches / exploits. Now, just so I get this out of the way, basically there's a difference between discovering something and popularizing it, like a big difference. And I just want to say that most of these things that I'm going to go over, DF didn't discover, he popularized them. In fact, if DF did discover any of these things, I'll state it when I'm explaining that thing so that you know. Anyway, now that I've eliminated all of those comments, let's get into it. The first glitch that Dangerously Funny popularized was the Item ID glitch. Now basically, what this is that in Stardew Valley, each item has a number that is assigned to it called its Item ID. This is so that it makes items easier to identify because they're all just classed as a number. However, because all these items are just classed as a number, like technically in the game files, well, this means that if you talk to someone and your name was the number of an item enclosed in these 2 brackets, then you would receive that item when they talk to you, because they were literally speaking the item into existence. The other way that you could get this to work, off the top of my head, was that if you went to Marnie, who sells sells you animals and you named one of your animals one of these item IDs, then when Marnie tells you the name of your pet that you just bought, then you would receive the item of whatever you named your pet. I mean, your animal. And just as I said before, can you guess who popularized this? That's right, it's Dangerously Funny, no surprise there. He did this back in like 2017 or something, way before all those random YouTubers got on the trend of talking about this topic. He also abused this glitch to make as much money as possible on the first day. Because in Stardew Valley, there is a person who runs the saloon called Gus. Now, if you talk to Gus on your first day on a new save file, he will say your name in the conversation. But the thing is, you can talk to him as many times as you want on the first day, and he like keeps repeating the same dialogue. So each time you talk to him, he says your name and you receive an item. Also, time pauses in Stardew Valley when you talk to someone, so yeah, you can see how these two things combine to make a really OP exploit. Anyway, the next glitch that DF popularized was the no-clip glitch. Now, this can be done by standing at the edge of a map area and then swinging a weapon, preferably your sword, because it works way better with your sword. Now, if you were to normally walk through here, you would just go to the other area. However, if you use your sword and you swing it as much as you want, then eventually you will actually edge past the end of the area. And then once you've done this, if you start walking around, well, you've officially gone out of the map. Now, this isn't actually a no-clip exploit. I don't know why I called it a no-clip exploit a little bit, but it's an out-of-bounds trick that can be used to get into areas that you're not supposed to in the game. Which actually, speaking of areas you're not supposed to reach in the game, we'll talk about that later, okay? Just keep that in mind. Oh yeah, also DF usually isn't like the sole person who popularizes all of these things, as some of his videos have hundreds of thousands of views and some of them have millions of views. You know, there's a bit of a difference, but generally he's one of the people that have the most amount of influence on the game in terms of like spreading information. Anyway, the two other glitches slash exploits that DF popularized were the teleporting horse glitch and the casino trick. Now, teleporting horse glitch, basically, this is a thing that warps you to an area in the game, but you can't use it when you're on your horse for some reason. So there's a glitch where you can use it while you're on your horse that DF made a video on. And the casino trick, okay, this trick involves a lot of maths. It's not really that hard to grasp, it's just a bit overcomplicated. Now, I am not going to go into detail in it right here because it would take like 5 or so minutes of detailed explanation and mathematics, but basically in Stardew there's a casino. I know in a farming game there's a casino for some reason, and the slot machines in this casino are all run off of a pattern. Oh, they used to all run off of a pattern. So if you figured that pattern out, well, you could just abuse it, and that's where the maths comes in. So yeah, if you abuse these patterns, then you could get basically infinite casino coins. Because using this glitch, you could rig the machines so that you would win way more than you lose. And when you know you're going to win, that's when you can bet big. Just like in real life, no, I'm joking. So yeah, look forward to a video one day where I detail everything about that trick, but actually, it'll probably just be a segment in a video, but yeah, that time is not now. Anyway, our next category of things that DF popularized are, as I've written it down right here, unknown things. Now, these are just things that were previously not really known to the Stardew Valley community, more like secrets and just, you'll see what I mean in a second. Now, the first one is the owl/alien capsule. Now, to my knowledge, this is actually something that DF discovered. Actually, no, not discovered, confirmed. Let me explain. Basically, in Stardew Valley, there are these two rare things that can spawn in your farm, one being a stone owl statue and another being an alien capsule, which actually an alien breaks out while you're sleeping the next day or something, and then there's just leaves of broken glass. But yeah, those are cool things, right? However, they spawn randomly. Nowadays, there's about 1%, 2% chance that they spawn each night, so you usually get at least 1 or 2 of these each save file. However, before the 1.4 update, I'm pretty sure it's 1.4, it could be the 1.5 update, these things were almost impossibly rare to get, and this is because of a bug that was in the code. So, back then, people didn't even know if these properly existed. Well, maybe due to like data mining or something, they'd seen the names of this in code, so they like knew of the existence of it, but they didn't know if it was actually implemented into the game. Until DangerouslyFunny went and did an experiment. And in this experiment, he actually managed to spawn the stone owl statue and the alien capsule, which the status of these were previously unknown. Now the next thing is the sea monster. Basically, another really rare event. If you go to the beach and you look at the water, well, there's another really rare It's like a 1 in a million chance. I'm pretty sure I covered it in some other video. There's a really rare chance that a sea monster will spawn. Now, again, this doesn't do anything. It's a visual Easter egg that looks cool. But yeah, it looks like this, and DF once again helped popularize this thing. Because, as I said, it's like a 1 in a million chance or something like that, so it rarely spawns, and so it just wasn't really known about up until then because not many people had seen it. Alright, the winter door. Remember early in the video when I said, remember this video? Well, this is what I'm talking about. Basically, on this area of the farm in winter, and winter only, you can see a mysterious door that is out of bounds and covered by a tree. Now, the reason why you can only see this in winter is because in spring, summer, and fall, the type of tree that spawns there covers the door. However, in winter, the tree is barren, and so there's no leaves on it or anything, and you can see right through it. However, that still doesn't explain why there is a door out of bounds that just is lurking there. That doesn't seem right. So, like many people back in the day, DF went to investigate it, and he used the out of bounds glitch that I talked about earlier. You see how this is coming full circle? So yeah, using the out of bounds glitch, he managed to walk into it, like walk up to it. However, it's uninteractable, so you can't interact with it. So this kind of deepens the mystery even further, because like if it was just like there for a reason, then you'd be able to interact with it and it would go somewhere, but it doesn't. So why is it there? What is this? Well, for many years, this was one of Stardew Valley's unsolved mysteries. However, I wanted to get to the bottom of this. So back when I made my Forgotten Secrets of Stardew Valley video, I actually looked into it because, you know, I'm no stranger to delving into the game files, and I came to the conclusion that this winter door is actually just a mistake. It's not anything special. But what do I mean by this? Well, as you can see, on this tile sheet, which is where, you know, images from the game are stored, the winter door is sat right next to this tree. And as you can see, this tree is the tree that is placed in this area. And because this tree is next to the door on the tile sheet, it means that Concerned Ape simply just accidentally selected the door to be there instead of a tree once when he was just making the farm map. So yeah, cool mystery, but it just turns out to be a simple mistake. Oh, also this was patched back in, I think, the 1.4 update or something. It just mysteriously disappeared. Anyway, the next thing I have written down is the hidden weapons, which I'm guessing this is referring to the weapons that I talked about in my Forgotten Weapons video, and the weapons in particular from this video that it's probably talking about is the NPC weapons, because back in the day, DF of course made a video on the NPC weapons. Now, what are the NPC weapons? Basically, in Stardew Valley, there's of course weapons, because, you know, you gotta kill things on the farm, you know. But just like many things in Stardew Valley, Concerned Ape didn't implement everything. He has a lot of scrapped ideas and stuff that are still just left in the game files. And one of these types of things are the NPC weapons. Now, the reason why they're called the NPC weapons is because they're a bunch of weapons that for some reason have the names of random NPCs in the game attached to them. So maybe NPCs were intended to use weapons at some point, or maybe they're the weapons that NPCs use in cutscenes or something. I don't know. But the strangest thing about these weapons wasn't that they're just laying around in the game files and they're tied to random NPCs, but look at these stats. Do you notice anything weird about them? Well, okay, let's compare them. This is the stats for the best sword in the game. Now, let's compare that to this random NPC weapon. Do you see what's going on with the speed? The max speed you can get in this game is plus like 5 or 6 normally with weapons, something around there. And 144, 140, something like that. What is this number? That's ridiculous. So yeah, it's safe to say that these NPC weapons never made it past the balancing stage. Okay, the next thing we're going to talk about is the original intro, because Stardew Valley's current intro is that you get a letter from your grandpa, and then you're working in your corporate job, and you go look in your drawer, I'm pretty sure, and you see your old letter of his, and you're like, yeah, okay, let's get out this corporate hellhole and let's go to the farm. So you go to the farm, and then the town's carpenter and the town's mayor both greet you and say hello and tell you some things. And then you start playing the game. Now, that wasn't the original intro, because a part of the original intro was you actually being on the bus that sends you to Pelican Town. Now, in this bus cutscene, I might have not mentioned there was a cutscene before, but in this bus cutscene, you actually meet Dobson, who was the original villain of Stardew Valley, who, again, isn't in the game anymore, but he originally was. So yeah, this is a deleted cutscene, and it involves deleted characters. And also it links to the original story because of that NPC that I mentioned, Dobson. He was actually integral to the old story that got deleted. But yeah, that's another convoluted mess for another day. The bottom of Skull Cavern. Okay, just like I mentioned before, there are two different types of mines in Stardew. There's the normal mines that reach from level 0 to level 120, and then there is Skull Cavern, which reaches from level 0 to level 2.1 billion and something rather. Now, because Skull Cavern is practically infinite, people for the longest time just didn't really know how deep Skull Cavern spawned. So of course, DF went to investigate. Basically for the video, he starts at level 0 and then he gets his friend Bunny Jumps to make him a mod that makes him go down certain floors in Skull Cavern when he presses a button. So like, say every time he presses a button, he goes down like 100 floors or 1,000 floors or something like that. Now in this video, DF discovers that this number is in fact the bottom of Skull Cavern. You cannot go below that level at all. It's impossible. But why is this? Well, again, it's for a boring reason. Basically, the way that mine levels are assigned in the code, you simply cannot go over this number because that is called an integer limit. And an integer is what's assigned to the number of a Skull Cavern level. Now, here's the thing. An integer limit and the Skull Cavern bottom floor, they're a little bit different, aren't they? There's a little difference. Now, what is that number difference between them? Well, it's 120. Now, does that number sound familiar at all to you? Well, it should, because remember when I said the original mines exist? Well, how deep are they? That's right, they're 120 levels. And this is because the mine levels and Skull Cavern levels are actually squished into the same part of the code, the same integer, which means that level 121 of the mines is technically level 1 of Skull Cavern. This is actually the reason why another glitch used to happen that DF also made a video on that I probably forgot on this list, but yeah, coal trees. Okay, yes, no, this is something I actually forgot about because it's so rare. Basically, in Stardew, there's of course fruit trees because you're on a farm. There's fruit trees you can place all over your farm, but whenever there's a thunderstorm, there's also a chance for lightning to strike. Now, you can actually harvest the lightning strikes to get batteries. However, there's also a very small chance, I don't know the percentage anymore, that a lightning strike will hit one of your trees. If it does, that fruit tree turns from a tree to a coal tree where it produces coal. Now this isn't actually very useful or anything, but it's pretty interesting. Secret out of bounds dialogue. Okay, yeah, this is another one of those things that basically nobody knew about before DF. I don't want to say he discovered it because I don't know if he was the first one to, but he was definitely the first person to show this to millions of people online. And yes, I mean millions, like I'm not exaggerating. Basically, how this works is that throughout the year in Stardew Valley, there are certain events. Now, at these events, there is usually two people who are actually standing out of bounds. These people being the Wizard and Linus. Now, Linus is an old homeless man that I'll talk about some other day. He might actually appear in this video. Yeah, Linus and the Wizard will be out of bounds. Now, because they're out of bounds, you of course can't access them. However, if you use the out of bounds glitch that I talked about before, you can actually go over and talk to them. And unlike the Winter Door, these two characters are actually interactable out of bounds. So yes, they do actually have dialogue. Now, I don't really remember what they say. However, I do remember one of the pieces of dialogue that goes along the lines of, hey, how are you here? We're out of bounds. You're not supposed to be able to talk to us. All right, next thing we're going to be talking about is the Linus sprites. So yes, this is what I meant a second ago when I was talking about Linus. Basically, Linus is this old homeless man. Now, we don't really know much more than that. However, there are a couple of theories about why he is homeless and what his past entails, which I actually made a video about that, which you should check out after this because it's pretty in-depth and pretty cool and pretty interesting. But anyway, let's get into the meat of this. Basically, this is Linus's sprite sheet, which is the thing in the game files that carries all of Linus's images, his sprites. Now, all of these sprites are used in the game, except these three. Now, as you can tell, these three sprites are the most different sprites out of this whole sprite sheet. And this is because they show Linus as a young man who is in a suit. But then in this last one, he's actually transitioning into his usual homeless state. Now, of course, yes, this is really weird because he's just a old homeless man the whole game, and then these three mysterious sprites that aren't in the game show him like this. Now, Concertape has never told us why these sprites exist, but my guess is that it has something to do with a scrapped cutscene of sorts, like a scrapped flashback cutscene or something. Now, again, I can't prove this because most scrapped features in Stardew Valley are still in the game files, just like unactive. However, there is no trace of a scrapped or old Linus cutscene in the game files. But you know, maybe ConcernedApe had the idea to do this flashback cutscene, he made the sprites, but then he never got around to making the cutscene. This is definitely possible because ConcernedApe has mentioned before that he would make more dialogue and also marriage options in the game, however it just takes him way too much time, but he would do it if he could. Oh yeah, that's also, I want to mention, that is actually one of Stardew Valley's unsolved mysteries still. So yeah, it's going to be involved with my unsolved Stardew mysteries video whenever that comes out one day. Alright, now we're on to our next category of things that DF influenced, which I call like the dark secrets category. Is that he would make videos exposing all the dark intricacies of Stardew Valley's story, because many of the all of the NPCs in the game, they all have some kind of dark or whatever backstory. For example, Kent came back from the war, he has PTSD, and this girl's parents are dead. Now, how do I know these things? Well, because of DF, of course. So what other things did he expose? Well, he exposed that Pierre is bad. Now, Pierre is like the guy who runs the shop that sells you seeds, and he's like, yo, I'm the local guy, and Jojo Mart, they're a big corporation out to get me, and he portrays this image, but Pierre's actually like an arsehole and exploits his customers and everything. Marnie and Lewis having a secret affair under the noses of everyone except like Lewis owns the town, and the adults. Why are they having a secret? Like they don't, none of them have, it's hardly even a affair because none of them have like a relationship with anyone else, but they try to keep their relationship secret. I don't know, it's a bit weird. There's also more stuff about Lewis, including his shorts. His purple shorts can be found in Marnie's room, and the golden Lewis statue. Basically, if you go around the back of Mayor Lewis's house after getting some kind of secret note, which is another random secret thing in Stardew Valley, you can actually find a golden statue of himself behind his house. So yeah, something using taxpayer money to fund your own private stupid ass adventures, something. I also wrote down missing children in this list. That's probably, I think there's one video where he talks about how most of the children in this town, in Pelican Town, just don't have parents, or their parents seem to be missing, for example Jazz. He also popularized the whole fact that Abigail is the wizard's daughter. Now of course he's not the only one to do this, but his videos on the topic have millions of views. And for you guys that don't know what I'm talking about, basically, remember when I was talking about Linus and the wizard being out of bounds? Well, yeah, this guy's the wizard, and the whole theory is that he had a secret affair with Caroline, who is Pierre's wife, and as a result, that child is Abigail, who is like Pierre and Caroline's daughter. But the theory goes that she isn't actually Pierre's daughter, she is the wizard and Caroline's daughter. And this theory is basically proven. Like, there's multiple things in the game that ConcernedApe wrote himself that support this theory, but yeah. Basically everything else dark, like Jody hating her life because she got married too early, and Kent having PTSD, yeah, that was all popularized by Dangerously Funny. But there's actually something else that DF influenced that relates to this. Because if you're a viewer of my channel and you've been hearing what I've been saying for this last segment, some gears might have started to turn in your head, because as I said, DF is the reason why I know about all of these dark secrets. Now, what is my most popular video of all time? It's the dark side of Stardew Valley. These videos between them have over 2 million views. But the reason why they exist is because of Dangerously Funny, because back in the day when I used to watch his content, he used to make videos such as these. And about 2 years ago or so, when I made the dark side of Stardew Valley, I was just going back through old DF videos, and I realized he had this kind of continuous series of discovering dark secrets around the game. And so I thought, wouldn't it be a great idea if I just pieced together all of the information from these videos into one easily digestible video? So I did, and the dark side of Stardew Valley was born. Also, I actually stole the dark side title from a hip-hop creator called Hello Yassine. I'm pretty sure that's his name, because his most popular videos are like the dark side of like the Kid Leroy or something like that. And yeah, I still watch his videos, but yeah, one day I watched his videos, I saw that title, I'm like, oh, that's a cool title, I'm just gonna fucking take it, and it worked. So yeah, thank you Hello Yassine for that. Thank you Dangerously Funny also for that. And this reminds me of that quote that goes something along the lines of, thieves steal from a single person, but artists steal from many. Anyway, our next category of things DF related is ridiculous ideas. Now, as I said before, a theme in DF's content, besides divorcing random characters every game, was that he liked to do the most ridiculous ideas that he could think of. For example, he found a mod where you could hoe and plant any plant anywhere in the map, because usually you're only supposed to be able to do that on your farm, and for good reason, because then the world looks like this. Like, what the hell is this? But yeah, DF did that. He also did how many pigs does it take to break Stardew Valley. Also the level 100 / level 1000 luck / skill / whatever videos that he made, where he plays the game, except he has a level 100 or a level 1000 luck or level 100 farming, for example. Also, for those who don't know, the max level of a skill in Stardew Valley is level 10. So he was going 10 to like 100 times what you were supposed to be able to do in the game. He also played the Stardew Valley Battle Royale mod back in the day, because, you know, the peak of Fortnite kind of coincides with the rise of Stardew Valley in terms of time frame. And then that mod was like discontinued for years. And then like a year or two ago, all the new Stardew Valley creators that were popping up, I'm pretty sure those guys found a way to revive the mod and played it again for content. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Also, most of DF's ridiculous ideas were actually custom mods by Bunny Jumps. They're made by Bunny Jumps because he made DF's no clip mod, which is essential every video, his time skipper mod, which is essential every video, and also his luck skill mod, which, you know, the one that increases your luck/skill. He also, I think I mentioned this before, he probably also made the Skull Cavern level skipper mod as well, and probably many other mods as well. But now our second to last category that we're going to be talking about is guides. Now, as I said before, guides have always been a staple in Dangerously Funny's content. Now, what type of people watch guides? Well, they're people that are new to the game or new to a certain aspect of the game and want help or whatever, how to do something optimally, how to do something right, whatever. But sometimes opinion can actually be a part of your guide, because not everything is a concrete fact. A lot of it is personal preference in this game. Now, when you, a person that knows a lot, is giving your opinion to millions of people that don't know a lot about that certain topic, you can actually be a major reason for why something is in the community is today. Now, what am I talking about? Of course, the Mushroom Cave versus Bat Cave debate. It's the most useless debate in Stardew Valley. I'll have a video out on it soon. Basically, in Stardew Valley, there's this random cave that you either can pick the mushroom cave or the bat cave, and if it's the bats come and give you fruit if you pick the mushroom spawn in the cave. It's pretty useless in the game. However, there's like this continuous debate that's gone from the start, where people just type paragraphs and paragraphs about why having mushrooms every couple days is better than having fruit every couple days, and it's really dumb. And DF isn't at fault for this. However, majority of the people in the community seem to think that the mushroom cave is better than the fruit bat cave. Now, I made a very detailed video on this once, and in this video I came to the conclusion that neither is really better, it's actually down to personal preference. However, despite it being down to personal preference, it isn't portrayed that way in literally every other mushroom cave versus bat cave video on YouTube. I haven't found a single video on YouTube besides mine that looks at it from a non-biased standpoint. And back in the day, Dangerously Funny's guide on the fruit bat / mushroom cave seemed to come to the conclusion that the mushrooms are better than the fruit bat cave. Now, remember what I just said a second ago, how it seems like the mushroom cave is more popular than the fruit bat cave? Well, I reckon DF was definitely a big part of this, because back in the early days and even continuing to nowadays, his guide is the most popular video on the internet about this topic. And in this video, he concludes mushrooms are better. So yeah, most popular video saying this mushrooms are better. You know, it kind of, he probably influenced it. DF also made several other really good guides on the community center, an endgame guide, star drops and where to find them, crops, like which ones are good, which ones are bad for each season, rare animals, and also Prairie King. Okay, basically, in the saloon, remember Gus runs the saloon? In the saloon, there are two mini games, Journey of the Prairie King and Junimo Kart. Now, both of these things are basically like their own respective game in itself. Now, despite these mini games being ridiculously hard, like way harder than they should be, they're also quite different from one another. One's kind of like a roguelike, shoot 'em up, whatever you call this type of game, and one of them is, I guess, a platformer. But yeah, Junimo Kart is actually luck based because how the maps can format depends on luck. I'm pretty sure, don't quote me on that, I'm pretty sure that's a thing. However, Prairie King is the thing we're going to be looking at, because in the game, I mean the mini game, items can drop, and also coins. Items and coins can drop from monsters when you kill them. Now, because in the actual Stardew, like not in the mini game, because in the actual Stardew, most things in this game are luck based or they're pattern based. So when it comes to Prairie King, because that is a mini game that is inside of Stardew Valley, most people just assume that you should go there on a good in-game luck day. And this is because people think that in-game luck affects Prairie King. However, it does not. Now, I haven't watched DF's video on this for a while, so I do not remember if he comes to the conclusion that it is influenced by luck or if it doesn't, but either way, he either contributed to the stigma that luck does impact this game, or he didn't. Now, he probably did, because as I said, most people think that luck is a factor. However, it's not, and this has been confirmed by Concerned Ape, who is the developer of Stardew Valley. So yeah, I think I'll trust the guy that made the game. Alright, so now for one final category of things that DF influenced Stardew with is the personal category. Now, these are things that influence how I play the game today. For example, pig farming. Now, pigs are actually the most profitable animal in the game by far. They're not even the most profitable animal, they're the most profitable thing in the game. However, most people don't even realize this because there's another method that is much easier to do. Even though it gets you a lot less money, it's still easier to do. So most people do that, and then all the YouTubers back in the day, they made it oh, ancient fruit wine, yeah, this is the way to go, this is the way to make money. And then, you know, people thought it was, even though it makes a lot less money than pigs. That's another rant for another day. But yeah, I learned about pig farming and how good it is from DF. So this video of mine, that's an old video that's actually one of my first videos on this channel, if not the first, to really like get some views. The reason why I made it is because I really like doing it in the game because it gets me a lot of money, and the reason why I know about it is because of DF. Another thing is coffee. Basically in Stardew, you're kind of slow. I'm not even gonna lie, you're kind of slow. However, coffee increases your movement speed, so just always spam coffee. I learned this from DF. But back in the day when DF was a Stardew YouTuber, you had to drink a coffee every I think minute and a half, because that's when it would wear off. But back in the 1.5 update, maybe 4, so back in like 2020 or maybe 2019 or 18, ConcernApe added triple shot espresso, which means it takes 3 coffees to make and it lasts for like 3 minutes instead of 1, which these are real life minutes. Now the next thing I've written down is slime attack, which that just sounds weird. Like, what does that mean? I actually didn't know when I looked at this for the first time in a while. I was like, what the hell does that mean? But I think it's referring to this video where DF put a bunch of slimes in the town and around NPCs, and it turns out because slimes like hurt you when you touch them because they're an enemy, but they actually like talk to villagers. It's actually weird. They actually become villager friends. I don't know why that happened. I think it's just like, well, no, I do know why that happens. It's because it's an Easter egg that ConcernApe put in. But yeah, that's another cool thing I learned from DF. I also learned about the unlimited money glitch, which you used to be able to do back in the day. I never did it. I only watched it. It was kind of cool. It got patched a while ago. Level 13 fishing. That's right. This is a thing. Okay. Remember how I said before that level 10 is the max level of skills that you can get to in Stardew Valley? So you can have level 10 farming, level 10 foraging, level 10 fishing, etc., etc. Well, you can actually temporarily get over this cap. And this is because when you eat certain foods and wear certain items in this game, you get certain buffs. For example, if I eat this, I get +1 fishing, or if I wear this ring, I get +1 luck. Now, using a specific combination of food intake and probably clothing, you can actually boost your in-game fishing from level 10 to level 13. Now, I don't actually remember what the combination is, but yeah, that is possible. And it also would help you if you're having trouble catching the legend fish in Stardew Valley, which is Stardew Valley. Actually, no, it's not Stardew Valley's hardest fish to catch in the game, but it's advertised as so, like, it's called the legend fish for a reason. I actually made a video about this ages ago. But yeah, if you're ever struggling to catch this fish or the actual hardest fish in the game, then watch this video and try it out. Oh, that's right, the power of mixed seeds. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, with this one, basically, when you're starting out and you save file in Stardew Valley, you get given 15 parsnips, and then you can plant them down and blah blah blah, and then you have 500 gold, which you can also spend on some seeds and whatnot. Yeah, that's that. However, DF also made me aware of the power of mixed seeds back in the day. Basically, whenever you break one of these pieces of grass and you have heaps of them on your farm at the start, it has a certain % chance to drop a mixed seed. Now, a mixed seed is a seed that when planted becomes a random seed from that season, because per season in this game there's multiple different crops that you can choose from. So it's a random selection seed for whatever season you plant in, but the thing I'm going to put the emphasis on here is free. It's a free random seed. And when you're in the early game of Stardew Valley, any free stuff you can get, any free seed, any free money, it just snowballs because of how you can invest crops and everything in this game. It snowballs. So the power of mixed seeds is actually immense. And the last thing I want to talk about is that DF once made a video called this. I'm pretty sure it's called what happens after 50 years in Stardew Valley, something like that. But basically he just like skipped 50 years and skipped another 50 or whatever, and then he walks around Stardew and then he's like, just to see if anything happens after like 50 years or 100 years pass. Now this is actually a plausible thought because there is many very random Easter eggs in this game and random secrets. So something happening after like an amount of years, like 50 or 100, because usually you play like 4 years, I don't know, 2 to 6. My main file was 6 and I'm a YouTuber, so usually you don't have to play that many years. So it would be very concerned of him to hide a secret in year 50 or year 100 or something like that. However, much to our disappointment, DF did not find one in these videos. They were still fun to watch. So yeah, now you know a brief history of DF and basically everything. I probably missed a couple of things, but basically everything that he popularized or discovered in this game. And for all of the things that I've mentioned in this video are reasons why Dangerously Funny has forever changed Stardew Valley. So thank you, Dangerously Funny. I've already said this before in my tribute to DF video that you watched, but yeah, when I was a kid, I watched so many of your videos and they brought me so many hours of joy. And they also actually changed the way that I play this game forever. And also because of the dark side of Stardew Valley that I talked about, you also influenced my most popular video of all time. So yeah, thank you for all of that. Anyway, thanks for watching, and let's end this video with some rare footage of DF laughing, because he like never laughs in any video for some reason.
Mumps, Lewis, one of them's taking a picture or something, one of them's talking. This doesn't really work, you may kiss. And he kind of, well, let's say he kissed in between us.